Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English Learner Podcast. I'm Tom, and if you're enjoying learning real English that you can actually use every day, make sure you subscribe right now because every episode helps you speak more confidently, understand more clearly, and practice English naturally.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna, and thank you for spending your time with us today. Subscribing helps you practice a little every day, and small practice makes a big difference. Today we're talking about a topic very useful for everyday English, common phrasal verbs.
Phrasal verbs can be tricky because the meaning changes when you add a small word like up, off, or out. But don't worry, we'll make it easy with real-life examples.
For example, wake up is a phrasal verb. You don't just know wake. Together, it means to stop sleeping. I wake up at 7 a.m. every day.
Another one is pick up. You might say, I picked up my clothes from the floor, or I picked up my bag before leaving. It's simple but very common in daily conversations.
You can also say give up when you stop trying something. For example, I wanted to finish my homework, but I was tired, so I gave up.
And when something breaks, we often say break down. My phone broke down yesterday, so I couldn't call my friend.
You can make a small story to practice multiple phrasal verbs. I woke up late, picked up my clothes, got ready fast, and ran out the door. Then my phone broke down.
That's perfect because it uses 4 phrasal verbs naturally in one short story.
Another tip is to group phrasal verbs. For example, phrasal verbs with up, wake up, clean up, look up, and give up. When you learn them together, it's easier to remember.
You can also notice phrasal verbs in movies or videos. Pause when you hear find out, run into, or put off, and think about what they mean.
Then try to use them in your own sentences. I ran into my friend at the park yesterday. I put off my homework because I was tired.
Talking about small daily problems is another way. The internet went out, so I couldn't watch my video. The washing machine broke down, and I had to wash clothes by hand.
You can also practice asking questions using phrasal verbs. Did you find out about the new movie? When did you get up this morning?
And don't worry about mistakes. Even if you say, I picked up my bag, people will understand, and you'll learn faster next time.
Another activity is to record yourself telling a story using phrasal verbs. For example, I woke up late, got dressed fast, picked up my bag, and ran out. I met my friend and we hung out for the afternoon.
Listening to your own voice helps improve pronunciation, confidence, and fluency.
Another tip is to practice with friends or family. Ask, did you wake up early today? Did you run into anyone interesting? Did you give up on anything recently?
These questions let you use phrasal verbs naturally in conversations.
Remember, phrasal verbs are everywhere, and the more you notice and practice them, the more comfortable you'll be speaking English.
You can also try making mini role plays. Imagine you're talking to a friend. I looked up the meaning of a word yesterday. Did you find out the meaning? Yes, and then I wrote it down.
Another fun activity is describing your day with phrasal verbs. I woke up, cleaned up my room, got dressed, and went out. I ran into my neighbor and picked up some groceries.
You can also practice phrasal verbs with off, like take off, turn off, or put off. I took off my shoes when I got home. I turned off the lights before leaving. I put off doing my homework until the evening.
Another tip is to connect phrasal verbs with feelings. I gave up because I was frustrated. I cheered up after talking to my friend. I calmed down after listening to music.
Talking about emotions makes phrasal verbs more memorable and natural to use.
Another activity is writing a short diary entry using phrasal verbs. For example, I woke up late, got dressed fast, picked up my bag, and ran out. I found out that my class was canceled, so I relaxed at home and cheered up.
You can also practice questions and answers with a friend. Did you wake up early today? No, I woke up late. Did you put off your homework? Yes, I put it off until tonight.
Another tip is to notice phrasal verbs in songs. Many English songs use phrasal verbs, and listening helps you remember them naturally.
And you can practice pronunciation by repeating phrases slowly. Wake up, pick up, run into, give up, put off, turn off, calm down, cheer up.
Finally, one fun activity is to tell a short story about a problem using as many phrasal verbs as possible. For example, I woke up late, my alarm didn't go off, I got dressed quickly, ran out the door, and bumped into my friend. I looked up the bus schedule and found out it was late, so I waited and cheered up. Another way to practice phrasal verbs is by talking about your daily routine in more detail. For example, I wake up at 7 a.m., get up quickly, brush my teeth, and put on my clothes.
You can also add look after to your day. I look after my little brother before school, or I look after my plants in the morning.
And don't forget run into. You can say, I ran into my neighbor while walking to school, or I ran into an old friend at the market yesterday.
Another phrasal verb is come across. I came across a new English app yesterday, and it looks really helpful.
One fun activity is to make a mini story combining several phrasal verbs. For example, I woke up late, picked up my clothes, ran into my friend on the street, and looked after his dog while he went shopping.
You can also practice phrasal verbs with off, like take off and put off. I took off my shoes when I got home, or I put off my homework until tonight.
Another tip is to talk about problems or mistakes. I gave up trying to fix my computer yesterday, or I broke down when my bike tire went flat.
And then you can talk about solutions using phrasal verbs. I figured out how to fix it, or I cheered up after talking to my friend.
You can practice asking questions with phrasal verbs too. Did you turn off the lights? Did you pick up the package? Did you find out the answer?
Another activity is writing short dialogues using phrasal verbs. For example, did you wake up early today?
Yes, but I got up late yesterday.
Did you look up the meaning of that word?
Yes, I looked it up in the dictionary.
Many role plays like this make phrasal verbs much easier to remember.
You can also describe feelings with phrasal verbs. I was stressed, but I calmed down after a walk. I was sad, but I cheered up after listening to music.
Another tip is to connect phrasal verbs to school or work. I handed in my homework on time, or I called off the meeting because of the rain.
You can even tell a funny story. Yesterday, I woke up late, missed the bus, ran into my friend, and then my phone broke down. I laughed at myself, but I cheered up after drinking coffee.
Another fun activity is making a list of phrasal verbs you use today. For example, wake up, get up, pick up, run into, look after, put off, take off, turn off, give up, cheer up, calm down.
Then tomorrow, try to use some of them in real conversations. Even small sentences like, I woke up late, or I ran into my teacher are perfect practice.
Another activity is to listen to a short video or podcast, pause when you hear a phrasal verb, and repeat it. Did you pick up the book? Yes, I picked it up.
Another tip is to use phrasal verbs when talking about travel. I checked in at the hotel. I checked out in the morning. I got on the bus. I got off the train.
You can also share a short story with a friend using as many phrasal verbs as possible. For example, I woke up late, ran into my friend, picked up some coffee, looked after his dog, and then we hung out in the park.
Doing this every day will help you remember phrasal verbs naturally without translating in your head.
Another activity is practice phrasal verbs in questions about your day. Did you wake up early? Did you turn off the lights? Did you put off any tasks today?
You can also play small games. For example, your friend says a phrasal verb like run into, and you have to make a sentence. I ran into my cousin yesterday at the store.
These activities make learning fun, interactive, and practical. Another way to practice phrasal verbs is by thinking about your evening routine. I turn off the lights, put on my pajamas, and sit down to read a book.
You can also use call up when talking to friends. I called up my best friend to ask about homework, or I called up my cousin to chat.
Another fun one is check out. I checked out a new English app yesterday, or I checked out a new restaurant with my friends.
You can also practice phrasal verbs with back. I went back home because I forgot my wallet, or I called my friend back after he left a message.
Another activity is to make a mini story combining phrasal verbs. I woke up late, ran into my neighbor, picked up my bag, checked out a new shop, and called up my friend to meet there.
Another tip is to practice phrasal verbs with on. I put on my coat before leaving. I turned on the TV to watch the news. I carried on studying even though I was tired.
You can also describe problems using phrasal verbs. I broke down when my bike tire went flat. I gave up trying to fix the app. I ran out of time to finish my project.
Another fun activity is to make a diary entry with at least 5 phrasal verbs. I woke up late, picked up my bag, ran into my teacher, called up my friend, and then cheered up after drinking coffee.
Another tip is to ask questions with phrasal verbs. Did you wake up early today? Did you turn off your computer? Did you pick up the package?
You can also practice phrasal verbs in role plays with friends. One person says a situation, the other responds using a phrasal verb. You missed the bus. I ran into my neighbor and waited together. Your homework was late. I handed it in after class.
Another activity is to use phrasal verbs to talk about travel. I checked in at the airport. I got on the train. I got off at the station. I picked up my luggage. I looked after my little brother on the trip.
Another fun tip is to practice phrasal verbs about feelings. I freaked out when I saw my exam score. I calmed down after a short walk. I cheered up after talking to my friend.
You can also describe a full day using phrasal verbs. I woke up, got dressed, picked up my bag, ran into my friend, checked out a new shop, carried on studying, turned off my computer, and went to bed.
Another activity is to group phrasal verbs by meaning. Verbs about movement, get up, run into, pick up. Verbs about stopping or quitting, give up, put off, call off. Verbs about emotions, cheer up, calm down, freak out.
Another idea is to practice phrasal verbs with future plans. I'm going to pick up my cousin tomorrow. I'll call up my friend later. I'll look after my neighbor's dog while they're away.
You can also practice listening and repeating. Watch short videos or listen to songs. Pause when you hear a phrasal verb, repeat it, and make a sentence. I ran into an old friend. I looked up a new word. I turned off the lights.
Another fun activity is to describe mistakes or funny situations. Yesterday, I woke up late, ran into my teacher, spilled my coffee, but cheered up after laughing at myself.
Another tip is to practice with small games. One person says a phrasal verb, the other makes a sentence. Run into. I ran into my cousin at the park. Give up. I gave up on the puzzle.
You can also combine phrasal verbs in questions and answers. Did you wake up early? No, I woke up late. Did you put off your homework? Yes, I put it off until tonight.
Another activity is to make a story using 10 phrasal verbs. I woke up late, got dressed, picked up my bag, ran into my friend, looked after my dog, cheered up after drinking coffee, put off my homework, hung out with friends, turned off the lights, and went to bed.
Doing this every day helps you remember phrasal verbs naturally and use them automatically in speaking.
Another tip is to practice phrasal verbs in different contexts: school, work, travel, emotions, daily routines. The more you practice in real situations, the more confident you'll be.
Another way to practice phrasal verbs is to talk about your day in more detail. I woke up late, got dressed quickly, picked up my bag, ran into my friend, and then cheered up after drinking coffee.
You can also use phrasal verbs to describe small problems. I gave up trying to fix my computer. I ran out of time for my homework. Or I broke down when my bike tire went flat.
Another activity is to practice questions with phrasal verbs. Did you wake up early today? Did you turn off the lights? Did you put off any tasks? Asking questions helps you remember them naturally.
You can also practice phrasal verbs in short role plays. One person says a situation, the other responds using a phrasal verb. You missed the bus. I ran into my neighbor and waited together. Your homework was late. I handed it in after class.
Another tip is to describe your evening using phrasal verbs. I turned off the lights, put on my pajamas, and sat down to read a book. I called up my friend to chat, or I looked after my little brother before bed.
Another fun activity is to make a short story using at least 10 phrasal verbs. I woke up late, ran into my friend, picked up my bag, looked after my dog, checked out a new shop, gave up trying to fix my laptop, cheered up after having coffee, put off my homework, hung out with friends, turned off the lights, and went to bed.
Another idea is to practice phrasal verbs with travel. I checked in at the airport, got on the train, got off at the station, picked up my luggage, and looked after my cousin while traveling.
You can also describe emotions with phrasal verbs. I freaked out when I saw my test score. I calmed down after listening to music. I cheered up after calling my friend.
Another activity is to practice phrasal verbs in future plans. I'm going to pick up some groceries later. I'll call up my friend tomorrow. I'll look after my neighbor's dog while they are away.
Another tip is to practice listening and repeating. Watch videos or listen to songs, pause when you hear a phrasal verb, repeat it, and make your own sentence. I ran into an old friend. I looked up a new word. I turned off the TV.
Another fun activity is to play phrasal verb games. One person says a phrasal verb, the other makes a sentence. Run into. I ran into my cousin at the park. Give up. I gave up on the puzzle.
Another activity is to practice phrasal verbs with school or work situations. I handed in my homework. I called off the meeting because it rained. I looked up a new word in the dictionary.
Another tip is to make a story about mistakes or funny situations. Yesterday, I woke up late, ran into my teacher, spilled my coffee, but cheered up after laughing at myself.
You can also practice phrasal verbs with movement. I got up early, ran into my neighbor, picked up my bag, and carried on walking to school.
Another idea is to describe your day using as many phrasal verbs as possible. I woke up, got dressed, picked up my bag, ran into my friend, looked after my dog, cheered up after coffee, put off my homework, hung out with friends, turned off the lights, and went to bed.
Another fun activity is to practice phrasal verbs with emotions. I freaked out when I lost my keys. I calmed down after listening to music. I cheered up after calling my friend.
Another tip is to practice phrasal verbs in real conversations. Talk to your friends or family and ask, did you wake up early? Did you run into anyone? Did you put off your tasks?
Finally, if you enjoyed this episode and found it useful, make sure to share it with your friends or classmates who are learning English. Leave a comment telling us which phrasal verb you learned today or which one you want to practice more, and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes. Sharing helps your friends practice, commenting gives you a chance to use English, and subscribing keeps you motivated.
Thank you so much for listening. Keep practicing. Explore phrasal verbs in your daily life, have fun with many stories, mistakes, and games, and we'll see you next time on the English Learner Podcast.